Start recording.
Yeah,
Here is.
Wait, the bad.
It's good news to some, it's bad to others. This is nothing more than solving linear equations with a different sign. Okay? Now, some of us are still struggling with solving linear equations. So we're going to start out today with the one-steppers, just the addition and subtraction, okay? Now, before I start, tell me this. What in the world is Samora doing with her phone out?
Oh, what in the world are you doing?
What is an inequality?
What you doing?
Take it from me.
What does it mean to, Christian, what's it mean to be an inequality?
Inequality not equal?
It's not equal, you are right. What does it look like? There's a special sign for it.
The equal sign or the slash through it?
Oh, no, that's not equal.
Come on.
Some what's for real?
Have you seen these signs before?
Yeah, I guess greater than, less than, equals to.
Okay. A lot of you probably learned them the very first time that look like an guys, girls. An alligator mouth, that's exactly right. This way is greater than. What's the next one?
No, less than.
Less than. Yes, answer it, say Miss McGee, please. Again. That's right. What's the difference? And you just said it's greater than or equal. What's the difference? Shh, guys, y'all are worried about doing well and worried about passing. You can't pass without the knowledge. Okay? What is the difference in greater than and equal to?
Greater than is just greater than. Equal and greater than equal to might be like greater or equal. It might.
What's the difference in those two inequalities?
X might be equal to 3 or greater.
That's right. It includes 3 here. Okay? So 3 or bigger, whereas the first one is just bigger than 3. 3 is not included. Okay, which means this one is less than or equal to. Let's talk for just a minute before I show you how to solve these. Let's talk for just a minute about what the graph looks like, because these are a lot easier. Look, we're only going to do one variable today. We're not doing X and Y. We're only going to do one variable. Okay.
Wait, I was done.
Let's label this. Let's call this graphing. If I told you, let's use that same one. X is greater than or equal to 3. Okay. Because I'm only one variable, I can't be on an XY plane, right? Right? Why can I not be on an XY plane? What do you need to be on an XY plane?
A Y.
A Y. What do I not have? A Y. I got an X. So what I'm going to do is graph it on a number line. Okay? All right, so here's what I'm going to do. If you ever see the greater than or equal to or the less than or equal to. Okay, those are going to be solid dots. Because the solid dot tells me I need to include the number.
Oh, I remember.
You remember doing this? Whereas this is going to be an open dot that I do not color in. Okay, so when you graph, what you want to do is you want to put the point on your number, okay?
Mr. McGee, that's like a half circle
Closed or open.
for the less
Where?
than one, for the less than. It's a circle, but it's not shaded in. No, the other one, the last.
They just open circles, not shaded in.
Oh gosh. Oh. Dang. Wonder who that is.
And I'm just going to set up a nice little number line here. Okay, so remember, open or closed is important. I'm going to give you all a second. I'm going to put the point, where does the point go?
3.
On 3, right? Here's my 3.
But listen, you have to do the.
Is it, that's right. Which one is it, Zaya? Open or closed?
Closed.
Closed. Why?
Wow. Because it's greater than or equal to.
Because of that line under it right there. If it's got that line under it, it means color in the bubble.
That's how we do. So like,
Yes.
this is it. So this is it.
All right, now look. Now look.
She always saying this is it.
All right, we have to draw an arrow indicating which numbers are solutions. So tell me this. If x, and this is going to be x, if x is greater than or equal to 3, give me some numbers that satisfy that. What numbers are greater than or equal to 3?
1, 2, 4, 5.
Greater than 3.
1, 1, 2, 4, 5.
4,
Negative
5, 6, 7.
10.
All right, wait. Think about this for just a minute. Shh. Greater than means bigger than, right? Greater than is more. So what's a number that's more than 3? 5. 4. What else?
3.5.
Did you just say Wi-Fi?
Is there anything to this side that's bigger than 3?
No. Okay, why did you
Okay.
have negative 5 over there?
It doesn't matter. Okay? So now my question is, which way should the arrow go?
This way.
To the right.
Why would it go? Oh.
Yeah, because x is greater than that.
Okay? Here's a hint. And as long as your variable's first, greater than always goes to the right. Right arrow. And less than goes to the left. Okay. Less than left. All right. Shh. I'm going to give you a second to copy this down, then we're going to talk about how we're going to do it and how we're going to set it up to graph. Here we go. Shh. So, I have this scenario, right? The lowest elevation ever recorded in the U.S. is negative 282 feet. Okay? And that occurs at Death Valley, California. Write an inequality that describes all elevations in the U.S. Well, if that's the lowest elevation, that means all the other elevations have to be what? Higher. So how do you say that your variable, and we'll say the variable is elevations in the U.S., so we'll let that be x, right? So how do you say that x has to be higher than negative 282? Now, let me ask you this, Christian. Why did you say greater than or equal to and not greater than?
Because I didn't know I could get this.
You're right. It's right, but I'm asking why.
Oh, it's because like it could. I mean, x could.
Is negative 282 one of the? Is negative 282 one of the points that it can be? Yes, that is actually one of the elevations. Okay, so x is greater than or equal to negative 282 is my inequality. Tell me how I would graph this. I'm going to set my number line up. This is.
Negative 8 2.
So here's the thing about a number line. Number lines don't have to have. This is not like an XY plane. I don't have to start at 0. I can start my number line at whatever I want. Okay. So I think I'll start at. Well, if I start at negative 280 and go up, then I'm going negative 279. I'm going backwards. So I'm going to start negative 285. You'll see why.
Negative 285 and then use that.
Because bigger, the smaller the negative number, the bigger it actually is, right? I'm getting closer and closer to 0. Does that make sense so far? Okay. No. Okay. So if you're getting, if the remember you got to get bigger to the right.
Yes.
So the bigger you get to the right, the negative number goes down.
Greater than 282.
Right.
So could equal negative 280.
All right. Is it opened or closed
Close.
at 282?
It's closed.
How do you know?
Because I looked at the notes you.
Because it's greater than or equal.
This line right here means color the bubble in.
Yeah.
Look at my notes.
Yes, Ricky.
So, when you go up, right,
My notes.
it's a positive, like in feet. If you go below ground, is it negative?
What they mean by elevation is by sea level. So the sea level's at a certain point. If you're below sea level, your elevation's negative. If you're above, it's positive. So it's not that you're actually underground. It's just that the way the land is, like it's down a hill or in a valley or whatever kind of thing. All right. Am I going to go to the right or to the left?
Why would you go to the right?
Is it greater than or less than?
No, I didn't want to go to the right. This way.
Greater than is right. Less than is left. Okay.
It's not greater than. What?
Y'all ready for the new line?
Greater than. Stay on task. Greater than is right.
So why are we going right?
Because it's greater than.
That's what I need right here.
And less than is left.
But it's a negative.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. What matters is which way this sign faces. That just tells you to put the dot at the negative number. Let's do another. All right. Graph this.
Greater than 5. Oh, X is less than 5. Can't equal 5.
Less than 5. But you're right, this one's different because it can't equal 5. You're right.
So we got
5
number
is less
line.
than 5.
Hey, Mr. G, this all we doing?
Yeah.
We're solving. All right.
So how would you number?
All right, so what should I start with on my number line? I hear 0, I hear 1. It really doesn't matter. Everybody's might be a little bit different. If everybody's just the same, you copied somebody's because everybody's is going to be a little bit different, okay? I usually put what I'm going to start with. This is just the way I do it. I put what I'm going to start with in the middle, and then I'll go up a couple numbers, and I'll go down a couple numbers. And that's how I generally do it. It's easier for me. I see where to start.
You're not going to do negative?
Okay? You don't have to. You can start. Remember, the other one didn't have any positive on it. You can start where. That's the nice thing about a number line is it's not like a coordinate plane where you have to have positive, negative, positive, negative. All right, where's the dot go?
Dot goes 5. And wait, I want to answer it. It's open.
Why?
Because
It goes to the left.
The line is not under it, so it's open.
Wait. And you go to the left.
And you go to the left. Because it's lefty less than.
Well, I didn't know that's still up on our board.
Absolutely. I'm fixing to make it a little bit harder.
Please don't be speaking. School is stressing me.
It can't always be easy or you're not learning. All right, look at this. I'm going to give it to you backwards this time.
They're trying to challenge you to make you smarter.
I'm not going to tell you again.
No,
But I'm going to tell you the past couple
All right,
I
shh,
don't
shh,
gotta
shh.
listen to you.
All right, take a look at this number line. Don't blurt it out.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Backwards. Okay.
I know this.
I want the inequality that describes that graph. I'm gonna give. Don't blurt it out yet. Take a second to copy it down.
So you don't have to. So you don't have to have negatives or positives.
Mm-hmm.
You
You
don't.
have whatever you need.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
Say no.
I know the answer.
You don't gotta. Wait, don't say anything. You don't gotta have negative and positive.
This is quite easy.
I don't know, I got it.
Don't stop.
Oh,
Popcorn for all.
okay, I got it. I don't know where that song from. Where's your song? Oh, TV's moving. No problem. So do we gotta put -6 or can we just put 6?
You got to put -6. All right, you got it? Oh, I forgot to pause the video. All right, just wait. Wait. All right, we're going to start with our variable. X.
You went to this conference room.
X is greater than or equal to.
Okay, so I'm moving. Which way is my arrow? To the right or the left? To the right. Right means greater than. So, but my question is, should I put a line under it or not?
Yes.
Why?
Because
It's filled in. Does everybody see that? If it's filled in, it needs a line.
what if it's going the other way?
It would be less than. The sign would go the other way. Let me show you. What's this number here? And then I'm going to show you a trick. What's this number?
-6. It's easy.
All right, look. Look at this little trick.
Wait, you got to the negative?
Yes. Whenever I draw this arrow, look what that looks like right there.
Oh.
Right? If I drew it this way, it looks like a what?
The arrow.
The arrow from the DC to
I know.
All right. Shh. One more. Uno más. Here's what I want you to do. Don't blurt this answer out. But I want you on your paper right now to write the inequality that describes that graph. On your own, don't blurt it out.
Yesterday was so funny in that class.
Talk about it together. The variable is
X less than 3.
X. The sign, it goes to the left, but also less than. Does it need a line? All right. Give me a thumbs right now. This means I got it. This is kinda, this is not at all. All right. We got to solve. Well, that was all kind of the introduction, so we can do the next part. But the next part's easy. All right. Here we go. Jordan. Now we're going to solve and graph. But today, so it'll get harder later this week. Today, we're just going to solve with addition and subtraction, okay? So I want you to think about this. When you solve equations, okay, the rules are the same as of today, okay? In other words, if I have x minus 5 is greater than 3.5, okay? How do I get x? We have not done this. We've done it if it was an equal sign. That's what I said. But the rules are still the same, so it shouldn't be that hard for you. The hardest part, the newest part, is the graphing on that number line like that, right? All right, so if I need to solve, then remember, these are SAD map type things. How do I get rid of the -5 that's hooked to the x? Does everybody in here see that?
No.
Okay. What is being done to x right now? Subtracting x. So what's the opposite of subtracting x? Adding 5. Just like if it was an equal sign, I'm going to do it to both sides.
It equals X is greater than 8.5.
All right.
How you know that?
Cause
He just added. All right, now listen to me. We haven't done a decimal, okay? So y'all stay with me because the direction said to solve and graph. Okay? So, it's not going to be hard. 0.5 means halfway between what two numbers?
8 and 9.
8 and 9. Remember, I always start with what I'm going to use, and then I put a few each way.
Oh, we need this more. Ain't it?
All right. 8.5, tell me where it happens. In the middle. Do I need to color that dot in? It's not less than.
Hold up, y'all. Slow down.
All right, slow down. Everybody slow down. Shh, 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 shh. All right. We know that it's an open circle because there's no line under there. So my question is, does the arrow go to the right or to the left?
Right.
Good job.
Because the thing right there.
This sign, greater than. Greater than goes to the right. Shh, guys. Focus, okay? I know I've been up here for a while, but focus with me, okay? Let's do another. Now, let me give you this hint before we do it. You know I've been telling you about less than and greater than and which way it goes? This only works, your variable has to be on the left side when you do this. So it's got to be the variable and then the sign, okay, for this to work. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to even change this variable up a little bit.
What?
Okay? That's okay. This one's hard. This one's a little bit harder. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and solve for the variable first. What's keeping the variable from being by itself?
-1/2.
So you got plus one.
So I got to add 1/2. So my question to you is, what is negative 1/2? I mean, what is negative 1 plus 1/2? Negative 1 plus 1/2. Oh my goodness. Negative 1 plus 1/2.
2/2. I didn't even know negative.
Oh, good gravy.
Young grade.
Negative 1/2.
Maybe change.
Oh, I was right.
Okay. Now,
Wait, so it's
I-
wait, why is it 1/2?
do it on your calculator. Negative 1 plus 1/2.
I don't know my
I forgot you can.
Oh no, you want to the left since it's.
Okay, so look, I need to move this around so I can tell which way to write my arrow, okay?
Go to the left.
So here, this, I need to put the M on this side, but look, it's still got to point to the M, right?
So it's.
See that this point, so it's gonna go this way. Because at the end, look, the arrow's got to point, the sharp end's got to touch the M. It's got to open to the 1/2.
Oh, so you just write it back.
So I just wrote it backwards. I flipped it around so I could tell the way I need to graph it, okay? Now when I graph it, negative 1/2, be careful before you answer this, is between what two numbers?
0, 1. 1 and 2. 2. No, 0, 1. 0, 1. 0, 1.
0, 1.
0. It's 0,
Oh, no,
1.
0, 1.
0, negative 1.
No, because point by. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Ricky.
Yeah, it's 0, 1 because the negative half.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you took time, right? You know, quick man.
Wait, this me.
I said think about it before you answer it. Instead, all right, look. Because if it's going this way, it's going to go negative 1/2, negative 1, negative 1.5, negative 2. So in between, do I fill it in or not?
Yeah. Fill
No.
it in.
Yes, fill it in.
How y'all know?
How do y'all know?
Because it has an underline, and on the note it says fill it in, it has an underline.
And
Which way?
also, you, it goes to the left.
Right.
It goes to the left. That's it?
Uno mas?
No. I feel so good about this.
Uno mas, uno mas.
Take a quiz on it. Y'all said that about the last chapter.
I know, right, Samoria? Solve and graph. Solve, this one, I left you some nice whole numbers.
Do -7.
So you subtract down the four.
Watch the people that said for the homework to be 2 pages, not gonna do the homework.
Wait a minute.
All right,
I did my homework.
this don't make sense. What don't make sense?
Alright, I got it.
The whole thing.
Alright, we subtract it.
X is less than 2.
All right, wait.
Don't say that.
We heard, we know, shh, guys. we're gonna subtract because the opposite of addition is subtraction.
Oh, wait a minute. What are you doing?
I gotta get x by itself.
I thought we subtracted 9 from 7.
Yeah.
Get x by itself. Whatever's hooked to x is what you move. Okay.
Basically, you move the small number to the big number.
Nah, not always, but
Got it. You gonna do it.
now's when I need to move it around, okay? Because I need the x to come first.
And X is the line, the thing is pointing to X, so you gotta put this like.
Now look, the alligator mouth has still got to eat the 2.
Yeah, so it's pointing to the X, we gotta do it that way.
Alright, look. This alligator has still got to eat the 2 no matter which way you write it. So if I put the x first,
Where'd you get 16 from? 9. You gotta take 9.
she added. Subtract.
We did add. No,
Yes, you did.
9 minus negative.
You minus -7. You got a minus +7.
Kick them out.
Okay. Guys, I've got now x is less than or equal to 2. So when I set my number line up, I'm going to start with 2 because that's the way I graph inequalities. And I add a couple on either side.
Why are you going up this time?
You go up to the right and down to the left. Ricky, y'all be nice.
No, because I don't. Okay, because when we did the last one, right?
Uh-huh.
Like you went up this time.
You always go up to the right and down to the left. So so I started with 2. So I said 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. But when you go this way, you go -1 and then -1. Okay?
Doesn't matter how you set up your number line.
No. All right, my point here goes on what? Should it be filled in or should it not be? It should. Why? It's got a line under. That's right. Now, to the left. Does that make sense to everyone in here? Correct.